This chart compares the income equality of major global economies, and the results might surprise you. India scores a 25.5, indicating a more equal distribution of wealth than the UK, China, and the United States. To understand that 25.5, we use the Gini index, plotted on a Lorenz curve. A perfectly equal society sits on this diagonal line. The curve below is reality. The space between them is the inequality gap. A lower score means wealth isn't concentrated at the top. Look at where India started on this next chart. In 2011, the country's Gini score sat at 28.8. At that time, over 16% of the population was trapped in extreme poverty, living on less than $2.15 a day. The economy was growing, but that wealth was accumulating at the highest levels. Meanwhile, millions worked in a massive informal sector, day laborers, street vendors, and farmhands, who were left to fend for themselves with no financial safety net. Over the next decade, 17 million people escaped extreme poverty. To understand how, we must look at how the government bypassed a broken system and why it's now racing to build an entirely new set of protections for the digital working class. The first phase of solving this poverty crisis meant fixing how welfare was distributed. The government needed to build a digital infrastructure that could send money directly to citizens, bypassing local officials and middlemen who often siphoned off the funds. The first step was a massive banking push. The state launched a nationwide initiative to bring over 550 million unbanked citizens into the formal financial system for the very first time. Those new bank accounts were then linked to a biometric digital identity. By tying a person's physical fingerprints and iris scans directly to their bank account, the government ensured that welfare payments reached the exact intended recipient. This pipeline allowed the state to deliver critical services with exact precision. It facilitated the rollout of universal health coverage, providing up to 5 lakh rupees in medical insurance per family, alongside the direct distribution of free food grains to hundreds of millions of people. This chart shows the resulting plunge in the extreme poverty rate. From 2011 to 2022, the share of the population living in extreme poverty dropped from 16.2% down to just 2.3%. While that digital pipeline pulled millions out of traditional poverty, the broader tech boom was simultaneously creating a brand new class of highly vulnerable labor. As smartphones and cheap data flooded the country, app-based platforms flourished. This generated an explosion in gig work, offering an alternative to traditional employment. By 2021, nearly 8 million Indians were working in the gig economy. Projections now estimate that this platform-based workforce will hit 23.5 million by the end of the decade. These roles offer workers high accessibility and flexible hours. A college student or a recent migrant can download an app and start earning immediately. But the trade-off is absolute exclusion from institutional safety nets. A single medical emergency, a traffic accident while making a delivery, or even a sudden change in an app's algorithm can instantly wipe out a rider's income, risking a direct drop right back into poverty. To stop this backslide, the government initiated a second phase of reform. They introduced a new set of labor codes that formally recognize platform and gig workers, bringing them into a regulated social security framework for the first time. Tech companies are now legally required to contribute to social welfare measures. This mandates access to provident funds for retirement savings, state-backed health insurance, and formal appointment letters to standardize employment definitions. These codes act as a mandatory defense mechanism. They are designed to ensure that the newly elevated working class maintains its footing and doesn't fall through the cracks of a digitized economy. Passing the laws is only the beginning. Enforcing traditional labor protections on a highly fluid, app-based workforce presents a massive logistical challenge. A single individual might spend the morning driving for a ride-hailing app and then switch to delivering food in the evening. Determining which platform owes what percentage of a worker's social security multiple times a day is incredibly complex. Making this work requires real-time compliance tracking. It demands a system where fractional contributions from multiple competing platforms flow seamlessly into one central digital ID for the worker. This brings us back to that Gini index chart. India bridged the gap from its 2011 baseline to the 25.5 score we see today by aggressively targeting extreme poverty. Income is only one half of the equation. True equality is measured by resilience, the ability to survive a sudden economic shock without losing everything.
By deploying digital infrastructure to eliminate traditional extreme poverty, and now forcing tech giants to weave safety nets for the gig economy, India is testing a blueprint for balancing rapid economic scale with long-term human security.